Since its invention by John Pemberton in 1886, Coca-Cola has become the most well-known soft drink in the world. Yet, after 130 years, the recipe for Coke remains unknown to the public. That's a long time to zip your lips. So how did they do it? Well, today, we're investigating how Coca-Cola has kept its formula a secret for all these years. Before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History Food channel. After that, please leave a comment and let us know what other top secret recipes you would like to hear about. Okay, time to grab a Coke and a smile.
A Coke and a smile.
While John Pemberton is technically the creator of the beloved carbonated beverage known the world over as Coca-Cola, he sold the company to Asa Candler soon after its invention in 1886. We imagine Pemberton would have regretted the sale if he knew how big his creation would someday become. But he wouldn't have regretted it for long because he died in 1888. Hopefully they at least buried him with his Coke money and a cooler full of the real thing. Candler then became Coca-Cola's sole proprietor in 1892. For more than a quarter century after that, the recipe was disclosed only by word of mouth, like a whispered legend. The first time it was written down was when Ernest Woodruff acquired the company in 1919. Woodruff used the secret formula as collateral for the loan he needed to finalize his purchase of the company. According to Coca-Cola's website, the recipe was written down and placed in a bank vault in New York. Once the loan was repaid, Woodruff returned the recipe to Atlanta and locked it up tight for the next 86 years. Today, it rests in the World of Coca-Cola Museum in Atlanta. And you can go see it. Sort of. While Coca-Cola did tell the media it sent its secret formula to be put on display within the vault of the secret formula, you don't actually get to see that formula. You just get to see the outside of a vault. The rest of your enjoyment is based solely on the power of your imagination. The formula is still allegedly sealed within this elaborately decorated vault, which is equipped with a palm scanner, a numerical code pad, and massive steel door. The mood is further intensified with red lighting and smoke machines, as though they're expecting the band Kiss to show up trying to steal it. The vault has become an attraction for the Coke Museum, tempting guests with the promise of becoming closer than ever before to the secret formula, which apparently is a big thrill for some. Perhaps sensing that looking at the door of a vault might not be worth the price of admission, the exhibit was given a few more bells and whistles, including an immersive multimedia journey toward the chamber of the secret formula. What does that mean? Well, as you head toward the vault, you learn about the origins of the secret formula, how competitors tried to copy the success of Coca-Cola, how the owners of Coca-Cola kept the formula secret throughout the years, and how the secrecy spawned a trove of myths and legends. And after that exciting journey through the history of your favorite beverage, you get to stand next to a door and think about Coke even more. It sounds a little silly, but if you've ever mistakenly given a Coke lover a Pepsi, or God help you, an RC, you know that this experience is more meaningful to some people than the moon landing. At this point, we're sure at least some of you are wondering how the formula for Coca-Cola can be both a closely guarded secret while simultaneously being printed on every can and bottle of the stuff in the world. Well, the truth is what's written on the can isn't the formula, it's the ingredients. And it's not even really that. Coca-Cola actually hides unknown ingredients behind the catch-all of natural flavors, which you'll see printed on every bottle and can. This is especially unhelpful given that the Food and Drug Administration has no standard definition for the word natural. What the FDA considers natural includes the following: the essential oil, oleoresin, essence, or extractive protein hydrosolate, distillate, or any product of roasting, heating, or enzymolysis, which contains the constituents derived from a spice, fruit or fruit juice, vegetable or vegetable juice, edible yeast, herb, bark, bud, root, leaf, or similar plant material, meat, seafood, poultry, eggs, dairy products, or fermentation products thereof, whose significant function in food is flavoring rather than nutritional. Natural! Researchers at Ohio State University have claimed that the natural flavors in Coca-Cola include coca leaves, vanilla, and cinnamon. But how much of each ingredient constitutes the soda's signature flavor, or what other ingredients may contribute to it, is still anyone's guess. Our money is on eggs and bark. One of the ways Coca-Cola has safeguarded its signature beverage is by securing an exclusive deal with the only company in the U.S. permitted by the Drug Enforcement Administration to import and de-cocainize the coca leaf, the Stepan Company. Since Stepan is the only company with access to this key ingredient, it would be impossible for competitors to get their hands on the processed coca leaf. This means even if they had the secret formula, they couldn't recreate it even if they wanted to. unless they go through Tony Montana.
Say hello to my little friend!
For the record, the Coca-Cola Company denies that its fizzy beverage has ever contained cocaine. That being said, its original incarnation did possess trace amounts of the substance until 1929, when it was removed from the drink completely. Incidentally, the Great Depression began that same year, and there is simply no way that is a coincidence. Given that Coca-Cola remains one of the most popular products around the world after nearly a century and a half, you might be surprised to learn that the delectable syrup Coke is made from has never been patented. The Walt Disney Company presumably just had several heart attacks. Why wouldn't a company that's locked its top secret formula behind an elaborate vault armor it up with every available legal protection? Well, at a time when medical patents were popping up left and right, Pemberton decided not to patent his drink, and it then became Coca-Cola Company policy. One possible reason for this is that, because patents expire, the company fears one day others will be able to profit from their product. In other words, a well-kept secret is better protection than a patent. However, according to Mark Pendergast, author of For God, Country, and Coca-Cola, the company kept the formula secret, partly in order to increase sales with a sense of special mystery and to prevent competition, but also to keep people from knowing how cheap the ingredients were and how large the profits. And given what we know about American capitalism, we're willing to gamble that the explanation most closely tied to protecting the bottom line is probably the correct one. Coca-Cola was first introduced in India in 1949, just 2 years after the country gained independence from Britain. But 2 decades later, the Indian Parliament passed a new set of regulations known as the Foreign Exchange Regulation Act of 1973. The act required all foreign companies to give 60% of their equity to Indian subsidiaries. The act also required companies to disclose sensitive information to the Indian government. In the case of IBM, that meant its computer codes. In the case of Coca-Cola, it meant their top secret formula, and you already know how Coke feels about that.
Get down!
It was a bold move by the Indian government, but it's not like Coke was just gonna pack up and leave a country with over 500 million people in it. Oh, that's exactly what they did? That's some secret. The Coca-Cola Company exited India in 1977. It would not disclose its secret recipe, no matter the cost. India began opening its economy to foreign businesses again in the early 1990s, and Coca-Cola made a comeback in 1993. Over the decades, various people and groups have come forward claiming to have discovered the recipe. And every time this happens, the Coca-Cola Company releases a statement labeling the claim as not authentic. One well-known example of this is when the radio show This American Life revealed what they claimed to be the recipe during one of their episodes in 2011.
We think we may have found the original recipe for Coca-Cola, and I am not kidding.
A staff researcher uncovered a newspaper column from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution in 1979 that included a recipe for Coca-Cola. Historian Mark Pendergast compared this column to a recipe he found in the Coca-Cola archives and said that they were nearly identical. It kind of seemed like the jig was up, but the Coca-Cola Company vehemently denied the legitimacy of the newspaper column and of Pendergast's research. Coca-Cola archivist Phil Mooney even used his company's favorite catchphrase when explaining its stance: not authentic. Of course, it's not like they'd admit it even if someone did get it right. That's, not how you keep a secret. Of course, This American Life wasn't the first to try to disclose what ingredients make up Coca-Cola, or at least what ingredients its researchers believed made it up. Other historians and even Coca-Cola Company employees have attempted to reveal the truth about the drink. The recipe released by the radio show and corroborated by others includes fluid extract of coca, citric acid, caffeine, sugar, water, lime juice, vanilla, caramel, alcohol, orange oil, lemon oil, nutmeg oil, coriander oil, neroli oil, and cinnamon oil. In 2006, a disgruntled Coca-Cola employee attempted to sell the recipe to Pepsi. Sounds like a highly lucrative idea. After all, Pepsi must be willing to do anything to get its hands on the recipe for Coke, right? Turns out, not so much. Pepsi turned the leaked information over to the FBI, and the employee, Joya Williams, and her 2 accomplices were sentenced to jail time. Soda is apparently thicker than water. Well, the syrup is anyway. While the hunt for the elusive recipe has taken on a life of its own, whether or not anyone ever actually figures it out isn't likely to have much of an impact on the Coca-Cola Company. Why? Well, put simply, there's virtually no way anyone could make Coca-Cola for less money than the Coca-Cola company does. Or, as Mark Pendergast put it, why would anyone go out of their way to buy a fake Coca-Cola that would cost more than the cheaply manufactured real one? That's an excellent point, Mark. The company agrees. One spokesperson even echoed Pendergast's words, wondering, why would anyone go out of their way to buy Yum Yum, which is really just like Coca-Cola but costs more, when they can buy the real thing anywhere in the world? Think about it. The Coca-Cola company has spent untold fortunes on making sure every single human being in the world recognizes their product and asks for it by name. And they've been at it for almost 130 years. They even got to Santa. Even if someone leaked the recipe today, like right after you finish watching this video, it likely wouldn't affect the sales of Coca-Cola much. And not just because nobody wants to waste an afternoon whipping up a hot, homemade batch of Sync Coke when they can just buy actual Coke at the store. It isn't the formula on its own that carries the weight, it's the name attached to it. Come on, nobody wants to have a Yum Yum and a smile. So what do you think? What's your favorite soda? Let us know in the comments below, and while you're at it, check out some of these other weird history food videos.